Hello and welcome to the Maple Grove City Report. I'm Dave Kaiser from Northwest Community Television, joined by Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator. Heidi, welcome again to the program.
Thank you.
We have got a lot to talk about today. We've got a 43-minute meeting to discuss, many updates from the city of things going on, and then a look at something that was in your recent city newsletter, the state of the lakes in Maple Grove. So if we have time, we're going to hop to that. So let's get started right away. As always in the council meeting on consent, updates on a lot of projects that are underway. So these are ones we've talked about before, but give us the update. What is working on some of the big projects in town?
Yeah, so a lot of these projects are starting to move forward. People are going to start to see activity on some of these sites. I'll just kind of run through some of them here. We have Killarney Glen, second edition. That's a single family housing development kind of in the southwest corner of the city, just 9 lots, so kind of a small project.
Okay.
We have the Auto Zone project. That's up in the Grove area, but on the west, I should say, on the west side of 94 there, kind of back behind Menards, across from BioLife off of County Road 30. So that they're going to start probably doing some work on that and get to construction later this season. The Enclave at Rush Creek, that's a project on the north side of the city, kind of on the Maple Grove-Dayton border. That one's going to start moving forward. There's a lot of public improvements associated with that in terms of the extension of city utilities and a Territorial Road will get some improvements, not a full urban street section, but more just sort of some interim improvements. That road's had some difficulties in recent years, a lot of potholes, just the road base breaking down.
Sure.
And so they're going to kind of reconstruct that road, so that'll be nice to see some of those improvements happening.
Okay. Very good.
We have Cambridge Park, that's another one kind of on the west side of 94 up in the County Road 30 area at County Road 30 in Lawndale. That's a townhome project. That one will be moving forward there. And then the Mirabel project, we've talked about that one kind of across the street from the community center, down off of Weaver Lake there. Just a townhome project.
Filling in some of those spots that have been left open.
There. Yeah, about 30 lots of kind of a small lot, single family detached product in there. So that, one more, the Water's Edge project at Central Park. That is kind of to the north and east of Central Park. A few more townhome units going in there. So it kind of completes out some of that area and gets some of that residential development done on the edge of Central Park. So lots going on.
That's right. A lot of projects
during this construction season, and many of them starting to move forward now.
So there's your whirlwind around town, some of the things happening. And as we move through the agenda, one item that was on the agenda that you might not think has to go before the council, but it does, and it has to do with the state fair. So tell us about the state fair and how you're helping people get there again this year.
Yeah, so it's been the practice of the city to work with Metropolitan Council, who kind of organizes the transit services in the metro area. Maple Grove, of course, is an opt-out city. We run our own transit service, but for the state fair service, that's something that Met Transit runs. And so the city does an agreement with them to allow our transit facility there in the Arbor Lakes area to be utilized for state fair shuttle services. It's only on the weekends during the fair because, of course, we have our daytime, folks that are
It's busy.
It's busy there during the day. So if you are headed to the fair and you're going on a weekend, there will be, scheduled times there for you to pick up the bus in Maple Grove. And that's the way I always go to the fair, is on the bus. It's the best way to go. Makes it easy. You don't have to worry about parking or fighting traffic. And so that service will be available to residents during that time as well.
And my guess information on the city's website, the fair starts on Thursday, August 25th. The round trip fare is only $5, cash only. So again, a lot of information available on the city's website about getting back and forth to the fair. Let's talk about the city survey. This is something that happens on a somewhat regular basis in the city, and I understand there's some thoughts to move it up a little bit for some very good reasons. Give us a little background on the survey.
Yeah, so the city has done a community survey about every 5 years. They typically go out, kind of ask the same questions so that we can benchmark the data over time to understand how people perceive city services, their quality of life here, and then just get some feedback on issues that are current at the time that we're doing the survey. Because we're going into our comp plan update and we're going to be starting a new economic development program. We thought it would be timely to maybe pull that survey timeline up a bit so we get that feedback in advance of both of those initiatives. So we're going to be going out with the survey come September. We're going to get through the busy summer months, get through Labor Day, kind of get the kids back to school and settle into the fall a bit. And this survey does go out via the mail because I think of the transition for many folks no longer having landlines. They've come now to doing more of a mail survey, and we'll be doing some communication around that to ask people to kind of watch, you know, if they are a recipient of the survey. We really do encourage them to respond. This is an important data point for the city. It helps us track our progress and understand what, you know, our residents value about their life here in Maple Grove and how we might do a better job.
And that always gives us some good information to talk about here on the report.
Absolutely.
So after that survey is done, we'll be sure to get you some information about what has been talked about.
Yep.
Let's talk about Woodland Mounds, a city property that I understand is going to get some updates to it.
Yeah, so Woodland Mounds is the city's senior housing facility, just located off, it's right on the shores of Rice Lake over there, off of Weaver Lake Road. Very nice facility. We've been doing a few things there over the last few months. We hired a new property management company. They started as of the beginning of June, and that seems to be going quite well over there. This project is really, we've had some drainage issues on the site and some kind of water infiltration issues around the patio area, so they're going to be making some corrections to some of those things. So for the folks that live there, they're going to see some disruption to their exterior spaces, but we're also going to come back behind and spruce up some of the landscape and whatnot. So good to get this project done. That'll probably start here maybe in August timeframe and then go for a couple months.
Okay, good. So again, some of the administrative items happening during the last council meeting. Another had to do with the police department and a new agreement they have signed. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so this is for the automatic license plate reader program, and this is something that's been, you know, talked about at the state level certainly, and, and a lot of departments are now starting to implement it. Our use of it is really going to be kind of focused in the retail areas, dealing with theft and that type of retail crime. So we are purchasing two of they call them ALPRs, automatic license plate readers, and then our department, our Safe Streets unit will be utilizing that primarily in those commercial areas.
Okay, what's the time frame on that they'll be out and about?
Yeah, you know, I think their goal is to kind of have it up and available during, certainly for sure by the holiday season as we head into the heavy shopping season, but you know, they'll be working with that for the balance of the summer and into the fall as well. So
and something maybe at the next open house for the police department or maybe National Line Out, they'll maybe show how that works so people can understand a little bit more about what that is and what that will be doing for the city of Maple Grove. Any other items under administration that we need to touch on? You
know, I do want to just mention we did have the sale of our bonds for our road reconstruction projects, and we actually did a refunding of an older note in that as well. And the city's AAA bond rating was reconfirmed. That's the highest bond rating a municipality can have. I think huge kudos goes to the city council, former administrator Al Madsen, for just really the great work, and then the work of our finance department, Jim Knutson, our finance director as well. Maple Grove just has a very solid financial position, and so to have that bond rating reconfirmed, I think is recognition of that hard work, and so congratulations to everybody on that one.
Definitely.
The other good news was our interest rate that came back on the bonds was 1.59%. So
hard to believe.
Yeah, we kind of always joke that pretty soon they're going to be paying us to borrow money, but that's great. It's a great value for, you know, our residents and whatnot, and so we like to see when those bond sales come in that fashion.
Let's move ahead to special business. There were a few items there that were touched on that are of note for the city. One is Beyond the Yellow Ribbon, and they have been busy and they have some drawings that are not out. Tell us a little bit about this drawing and what is going on with Beyond the Yellow Ribbon.
Yeah, so the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon program is working on a Veterans Memorial project over at Central Park. And they've worked with the park board to kind of look at an area where the memorial might go. They've worked with the same kind of park designers as did the Central Park project itself.
Okay.
So trying to, kind of really weave it in and make the architecture and design look similar. They are now, they have some of those renderings available, and they're using that in sort of their fundraising efforts. I think the estimated cost of the project is just over about $200,000, so they have some work to do on fundraising.
That was going to be my question of how
Yeah.
the funding works.
Yeah, and so they have some fundraising to do about that. I know they're working cooperatively with some other community organizations in town, Lions Club, whatnot, on that too. So this was an opportunity for them to kind of show the city council these new renderings. It's been covered.
Very nice.
I think you guys have done a
Right.
story about it, and it's been in the local papers and whatnot. But and then just to ask for their support on the project. They have their flyer material and information's available. I believe on our website, but also probably on the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon
Very good.
website, just to learn more about that. And if you want to donate, there's also going to be the paver type program within
Okay.
that. So
Sure.
if you wanted to honor somebody, you could buy a paver and have that be at the park, and that's another way to fundraise for the project.
Very good. More
Yep.
information certainly to come on that. Let's talk about age-friendly Maple Grove.
Yeah.
What does that mean, and what does that involve?
Yeah, so this is an initiative the Park Board has been working on. It's sort of a cooperative initiative between AARP and the World Health Organization. And it's a city can sign up to be an age-friendly city, and then there's kind of 8 different areas of focus that you work on that really think about the built environment all the way through through our programs and policies. So kind of an initiative that it creates a lens through which you kind of look at the work that you do and see how it relates to these age-friendly principles. And it's not just about more the senior community, it's really about being age-friendly at all ages.
Okay.
This notion that if you build a community for an 8-year-old and an 80-year-old to serve both, you've really addressed the needs of most populations
Sure.
living in the community. So this was to kind of endorse the city's application to this, or to sign on to be an age-friendly city. And then there was a letter of support required from the mayor. And so
Okay.
this was to bless the letter and send that on and allow Chris Orlock in our seniors program is kind of leading this from a staff perspective to proceed to work with AARP on this age-friendly designation.
So more information coming out through Park and Rec, and again, opportunities, I would guess, for input from residents as well.
Yeah, and there will be kind of some initial work done to sort of gauge where we're at. How are
Okay.
we doing today?
Sure.
Throughout all our departments. And then there will be different initiatives that come through that. And clearly, we'll want to have some community engagement around those things. So yeah, more to come on that. But this was kind of the first step in signing on for the designation.
Okay. Let's highlight a couple public hearings that were held at the last council meeting. One had to do with what we've been talking about as the markets at Rush Creek. Give us an update there and a little bit of a name change.
Yeah, so they're changing the name of the project to Southwest Crossroads.
Okay.
Same project, same location,
Right.
just a new name to it. They are moving forward. I think, in fact, they're closing on the real estate deal today. The public improvements are going to get underway. So this was the public hearing on those improvements, so the utilities, streets, those kinds of things. So that project will be moving forward. The other one that we had public hearing about was the Village at Arbor Lakes. This, of course, is the Kelly Dorn project, kind of the fourth corner of Fountains, Arbor Lakes area. This was, again, for the public improvements, the streets, utilities, those kinds of things. You probably noticed they're doing some grading
They're
work.
moving around.
I got a lot of equipment mobilized out there. So this gets that set in motion so that public improvement project can start. So yeah, these are another 2 big projects that are moving forward.
We'll be talking about those throughout the summer and fall as well.
sure.
Community development, let's move ahead. We've got one of the last lots of the Fountains
Yep.
that has someone interested in it. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so this is that last lot kind of out in front of Lowe's there on the far east side of the project. Firefly Federal Credit Union. Kind of a new name, certainly to us, but they've held the lot for many years, and so now they're moving forward with their new credit union project there. So very nice architecture. They really kind of spoke to kind of the stone and materials that you see throughout the Fountains project, and so should be a nice project.
All right. And a few of your items, giving people an update at the council. One thing was technology. You're
Yeah.
moving ahead at the council end with technology. Tell us what's going to be happening soon.
We
You
are.
look excited.
I am. Well, it's nice. I mean,
Yeah, here you've got the big book. Now,
This is the
soon
big book.
you'll bring the tablet, right?
Soon I'll bring the tablet, yeah. So we're going to be transitioning away from our paper agenda packet to where the council will be interacting with their council packet via an iPad.
Okay.
And luckily, here with the Cable Commission having the Granicus system, you know, it was really all there. It's really,
Right.
we were already producing in that fashion, producing the agenda in that fashion. Now it's just giving the council the tool so they can interact with it that way. And it's really neat because they have the opportunity, they can make notes within it, they can highlight sections, and it all kind of becomes their, you know, their agenda packet, if you will, in an
Right.
electronic form. The other neat piece is within their kind of the application that they use to view the packet, you know, all the planning commission meetings are in there, the videos are in there. So if they're, you know, reading about an item that's going to come before the council, they can kind of quickly flip back,
Very
listen
nice.
to the planning commission
Sure.
discussion, and kind of get the flavor and maybe, you know, understand a little bit more of the concerns without having to kind of read, you know, through the minutes, that kind of a thing. So
Right.
I think it's going to be a pretty slick thing for them. Clearly, you know, anytime you go through this change, there's a transition, and
Right.
so we're sort of prepared to be supportive of that and helpful. But yeah, and the good news is the council drove it, so
Good.
it's always
All right,
easier if
yes.
they want it more than we do from a staff perspective. So I think it's going to go well. We're excited to roll that out.
All right, let's talk a little bit about
Yep.
the election that is
Yeah.
coming soon, and for people in the city of Maple Grove, the primary ballot is a little bit of a small ballot.
is.
Tell us what people can look forward to.
Yeah. So, of course, the primary date, August 9th. Couple of key dates coming up. Absentee voting can start at City Hall as of June 24th. So that date's coming up here pretty quick. And if you'll recall, the legislature did make the change that 1 week prior to the actual election, whether it be the primary or the general, it's sort of in-person absentee
Right, you
voting
can
where
come.
you can your ballot goes right into the counter. So we don't have this, you know, more elaborate envelope system that we were using
Right.
last year or the last time we had a major election. So yeah, so the Maple Grove ballot is for will include the judicial offices for the Supreme Court for the Associate Justice 6, that district.
Right.
So very slim primary election ballot here in Maple Grove. We don't have primaries for our Senate and House seats and whatnot, and we don't
Not
do
for
that
the
for the
city.
city council either.
Correct.
So yeah, so but encourage people to get out and
Yes.
vote. It's a good process for us too, in terms of, you know, having sort of this trial run on the election. As you know, we've talked in the past too about switching to the e-poll books.
Right.
So we're all going to the
That's
iPad
right.
front.
Everything is high-tech now.
Yeah, and so when people come to the polling place, they'll be kind of checking in on that e-poll book now versus the paper book that we used to kind of page through. So
Right.
yeah, so primary election right around the corner.
Information on the city's website about all those dates, so make sure you take a look at that. Speaking of dates, next council meeting is not going to happen in the beginning of July,
Right.
with the 4th of July, kind of
Yep.
a regular tradition for the
Yeah.
city of Maple Grove.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice break, I think, mid-year here. So the meeting date would have fallen right on the 4th of July holiday, and then it would have flipped to the Tuesday, of course, if we were to hold the meeting. We were able to kind of coordinate our work at the city. That's why you kind of saw a lot of development work on
Okay.
this agenda, because we're trying to kind of get everything moved through the system to keep people moving and
Right.
not hold anybody up for a couple weeks. So our next meeting will be July 18th, so we'll kind of skip that first meeting in July, so we won't be back at it for another month.
All right, so there's your recap of the meeting. Again, 43 minutes was the actual time of the meeting. Let's move ahead to some other items. We've got a lot to talk about in the city, as always. First, comp plan. We've mentioned it a couple times through some of the council items. Give us an update on the progress and where the city is with that big project.
Yeah, so we're going to be starting some we have a few members of the City Council and Planning Commission designated to participate in some early meetings. We've been working at a staff level, of course, in preparing for the update, getting all the maps put together and kind of the background data that's needed. So we're going to be starting into that here in July, hopefully. And then as we continue to roll forward, there will be some community engagement meetings around the comp plan to get some feedback and whatnot. And there's a lot of parties that we need to meet with in terms of the school district. We need to think about kind of our housing program and how that relates and what our goals are around housing. Clearly, there's a lot of different transportation systems that we need to take into consideration as well. And then some major landowners that we need to meet with and kind of understand what their time frame is. And we've been doing some of that, of course, out in the gravel mining area. Just, with them, it's kind of a staging effort to understand when they're going to be leaving some of the land and when, what's the priority in terms of land that'll be made available for development. So process is getting underway. It's due to the Met Council by the end of 2018. That last 6 months is kind of our neighboring community review. So we have to make sure there's time to do that. So we have about a year and a half here to go, and so looking forward to getting that underway.
The finish line will be here before we know it, right?
It will.
It's coming fast.
Yes.
Let's talk about roads around town. Things are looking a little bit better, and in fact, you've got a bridge that's back open now, correct?
We do. So the Fish Lake Bridge, East Fish Lake Road Bridge, reopened to traffic last week. So that was a nice one, kind of a nice connection that provides people an alternative to Weaver and whatnot, and getting back to the east side of the city, connecting back to Hemlock. So that was a nice piece. And if you drive the 81 corridor or the 494 corridor, you see they're making progress out there too. It's always amazing how at the end how much gets done in a short period of time, and things get put back together, and hopefully, poof, you have a completed road project. So we're just continuing to monitor the progress on those projects as well.
All right, let's jump back to some other items that are happening, ways for residents to get involved in the city. One is the photo contest. Things open up. And they are open right now, correct? Through the end of July is the time frame. Tell us about the photo contest.
Yeah, so photo contest open through July 20th, trying to capture the Maple Grove Days events, because there's a lot of folks that take great pictures during that time frame that really captures the spirit of the community. We're working on being able to submit that online. We're hoping to have that complete by the time the people will start submitting. But there is a paper packet available, and then that's available on our website as well. And there's different categories to submit. But it's great for us to have actual pictures of the community to use in our publications and on our website and whatnot. So we really appreciate the efforts of the community to capture the things they love about Maple Grove and then see those printed when in the city publications.
Excellent.
Yep.
The outdoor market is in full swing.
It
and
is.
It looks like from some of the notes here, attendance has been good, as always.
Yeah, and I think this was an interesting fact. In the last 2 weeks, over 400 children signed up for the Pop Club program. So that's for
great.
Ages 4 through 12. They get a $2 token to purchase their own produce from the market vendors. And so the initiative here is really about getting kids, really thinking about what they're eating and giving them a tool to go out and pick their own fruit or vegetable that they want to buy.
Sure.
This age group, I think particularly, they think that's kind of fun, and I know my kids love it whenever they get some little token of something free that they get to go do.
And I get to spend it myself.
And pick it out, and it's kind of an ownership thing, and hopefully it gets encouraging them to try new and different fruits and vegetables. So.
And speaking of fruit, I understand from the notes here, it's strawberry season. So if you like strawberries, now is the time to head to the market, right?
Yeah, I think tomorrow afternoon would be a good plan.
I think people will be there.
Yes.
Back on the back end of the community center, this all happens with the market out in the parking lot. Back on the back end, you might hear some splashing going on. What's happening there?
So the outdoor pool is open. Certainly the weather has been favorable to attending outdoor pool activities. Hours are 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and then 10 to 6 on Sundays. And you kind of come through the community center. You have to have a wristband to be in the pool. And then Wild Wednesdays admission is $5, and then they have kind of a theme with different activities and games. Kind of a fun day for the family. So encourage everybody to get out, and it looks like it's going to be a hot weekend again. So probably a busy one at not only the pool but also the splash pad over at Central Park.
Yep, some great water opportunities in town. Also some great entertainment in town, and much of that happens at the Town Green. Tell us about some of the groups coming up.
Yeah, so coming up here Thursday, June 23rd, we have Trisha and the Toonies. That's I think that's a daytime production, fun family music. Monday, June 27th, the Belfast Cowboys. That's a 9-piece horn band, and that's an evening one. Wednesday, June 29th, the Medalist concert with orchestral music. I think that's an evening one too. And then, of course, the movies start in the middle of July with Maple Grove Days, and that first movie will be the Peanuts movie.
Ah, very good.
That's a good one.
All right. And
Yeah.
speaking of Maple Grove Days, it's hard to believe it's almost here.
Yep.
But something is already underway. What is that?
It's the medallion hunt. So that's the part of the program every year. Maple Grove Days, they do this medallion hunt, and there's clues, and you know, if you find it, there's all those kinds of fun things.
Right.
So we encourage everybody to. The Maple Grove Days website has all that information. I've been on there a few times myself, just kind of lining up my calendar to see what I can get out and enjoy during that event. So we encourage people to kind of check that out. And I think the brochure, the Maple Grove Days Guide, is going to be coming out here pretty soon too as well.
Very good.
Yep.
Packed full of information. Let's talk about the warm summer and watering lawns. Anything as residents of Maple Grove we need to think about?
Well, Maple Grove doesn't have a specific watering ban in place, but you know, clearly there's things that you can do to kind of help conserve water, and that's really about, you know, not watering during the peak of the day, you know, those kinds of things,
Sure.
maybe every other day. We've been having a pretty good frequency of rain, so hopefully people haven't had to turn those sprinklers on just as much as they have in the past. But we do encourage people to kind of take a conservative approach to their water usage.
Here's an update on an item that we normally talk about during the winter season of keeping the hydrants clear, but
Yep.
you have a little note for residents in the summertime. There's also a reason to keep them clear.
Yeah, so we just encourage people to think about, you know, mowing around those hydrants,
Okay.
keeping them free from any tall growing grass. A lot of them tend to get some landscaping around them, whatnot, but we always want to make sure that they're very visible and accessible to our fire department staff.
And that staff needs more firefighters. So
do.
next point is they're having some recruiting efforts going on, and it looks like it's through August 5th.
Yep.
The need is pretty much always for more firefighters.
It is. And I think and we're not alone in that struggle.
Right.
Every community is struggling with getting volunteer paid-on-call firefighters. And I think, you know, part of it is a lot of folks, you know, live in Maple Grove, but they work farther away, you know, and we're sort of that generation of folks who maybe work more in the area, can be, you know, have a little bit more flexibility. Maybe they're self-employed kind of a thing.
Right.
We're losing some of those folks in our departments as they move on to other things in their lives, but we really ask people to kind of consider this as a community service item in their lives and how they might be able to give back. And it is, you know, they're paid on call, so there is pay associated with it. We provide all the training. They can kind of come, you know, they don't have to have any formal preparation for the role. So we really encourage people to come on out and think about signing up. There's a pension associated with it as well. You have to stick around
Right.
for a
Very
while
nice.
for that.
Yeah.
But there's some long-term benefits, and then I think just the camaraderie and the spirit of the fire department being involved with the city and thinking about it as an opportunity to give back.
City's website, all
Yep.
that information. One other note,
Yep.
Senior Health and Safety Fair coming up on June 30th.
Yep.
Second year for this event. It's at the Community Center. Cost is $10. You need to pre-register. So again, go to the city's website to find out more about that. We've got about 3 minutes left. Let's give a quick little teaser maybe, and we'll talk more about this. The
Yeah.
state of the lakes. If you saw the city's newsletter, there's quite a few pages in there relating to the Great Lakes and Maple Grove. Why this type of effort to talk about the state of the lakes?
Yeah, so, you know, Maple Grove has 12 lakes, and I think they're really part of the fabric of this community and what people really love and value about living here. And so the city has a Lake Quality Commission that is focused on making sure that, you know, the water quality is good or improved in our lakes. So they deal with things like shoreline restoration projects. They're, you know, mindful of stormwater. How are we dealing with stormwater, and that we're kind of getting to it before it gets to the lake, and so that we're reducing the nutrients in the lake, those
Right.
kinds of things. And those things help good plant life grow, and they help good fish grow. They are focused on programs of, you know, stocking the lakes with different types of fish species, trying to reduce some of those rough fish type populations in
Sure.
the lake that can be difficult on not only the plant life but other fish species. We want to be mindful of that. So the Lake Quality Commission works with the different lake associations. Some of them are homeowner associations, some of them have a little bit more broader approach, and kind of helps to prioritize what those folks that are closest to the lake think might be helpful in improving lake quality.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very thorough report.
Yes.
If you're interested in reading it, certainly it's in that last newsletter,
Yeah.
which you should have received, or it is available through the city's website. And maybe as we move ahead on future programs, have a little time at the end of the program, we can pull some stats out of here because, again, very interesting to see the size and the effort that goes into some of these lakes.
Yep.
Heidi, thank you very much for the information again.
You're
Again,
welcome.
A great deal of things going on in the city of Maple Grove and a great council meeting. And speaking of the next council meeting, you're going to have to wait a little bit because it is Monday, July 18th. No meeting in the first part of July, 7:30 at the Government Center. You see the phone number at the bottom of the screen, website at the top. We mentioned many times. And again, our viewer response line, 533-1710. Questions or comments, you can send those to us. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us on the Maple Grove City Report.